Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about income and expenses in 7 points that we're going to be covering today, kind of one by one. Now, when it comes to personal finance, it does require somewhat of an investment in yourself. You have to use the steps and the tools that I'm giving you to actually build a budget, to create a financial plan, and come up with an idea of exactly what you're going to do and how you're going to get there through the goal planning that we had discussed. So number one, we're going to discuss the types of income. So this can come from salary, wages, tips, rental income, investment income, dividend income. There is a lot of different income out there depending on the sources. And if you're like me and a lot of other people, you have multiple sources of income that are coming into a stream, whether it's two incomes, whether it's a secondary job, a side gig, a hobby, whatever it may be, guys. Taking that income, calculating the income in its entirety is what you're going to feed into your budget. Now, the second one we talk about is tracking your expenses. Now, this is probably one of the biggest, most overlooked things that people do. It is very important to know where your money is being spent, discussing and kind of coming up with ways that you can spend it better. Make sure that it is written down on paper. We say this all the time, guys, making sure that it is actually written down. It is not a budgeting app. It is not a spreadsheet. It is not just tucked away somewhere. It is something that you're going to see and you're going to revisit, let's say on a bi-weekly process, maybe a monthly process, depending on your pay cycles. But when you get paid, you're going to plug in the amount that you're earning. You are also going to track your expenses. Another way to really do this is not only tracking your expenses on paper, but also going through and looking at your statements. It's a really, really cool kind of an experiment to do. If you go back, pull 3 months of your financial institution, your banking statements, go through there, track all of your expenses, see what you could have cut out in there, which the expenses kind of break into two different categories, guys. One is the fixed expenses. Now, these are the expenses that do remain the same. We look at rent, you look at mortgages, you look at car payment, you look at car insurance. Most of those are fixed expenses for the most part, because it is a set obligation every single month that you're going to have to pay, and you know exactly what that is going to be that you have to pay. So if your rent is $1,200, you know every single month that your rent is going to be $1,200 every single month. So plugging that into budget, very, very important. Now, the one thing this kind of gets into tracking your expenses is the variable expenses. So these are the big ones that can change and vary greatly from month to month. Looking at groceries, looking at entertainment, looking at travel, looking at food, with the cost of food being incredibly high right now, making sure that you're discount shopping, that you're looking at lowering that food bill, and also looking at some of the fixed expenses that you could possibly get lower. Now, what I mean by that is when you look at your rent, could you negotiate your rent? Could you move to a better place for a cheaper rent? Could you get a better rate on your car payment? Could you save there? And even looking at some of the larger variable expenses that we see, from cell phone bills to internet providers to car insurance, homeowners insurance, things of that nature. Shopping around and finding the exact same policy for significantly less is not incredibly difficult to do. The fifth one that we look at, guys, is discretionary income. Now, this does budget quite a bit for hobbies, for fun activities, for things that you are planning to do. And that is why, again, we've talked about building it within the budget, guys, which is super, super important. So if my hobby is I love to go to the movies and I love to go to the movies 3 times a week, I'm going to set aside X amount of money in my budget to cover my movie expenses, my discretionary income. Also, if you're looking to save for things. Now, this is something I feel like a lot of people really don't do anymore. So if I want to go on vacation, if there's a wedding, if there's something, a large, significant life event in your personal life, most people borrow money to accomplish what they're looking to do. They don't go and save up enough money to do a down payment on a house or save up enough money to get married, to go on vacation, things of that nature. They will actually go and borrow an exorbitant amount of money to actually do the things they want, and then spend months, weeks, even years paying back the money in there instead of just saving to actually do what they want to do. Now, the sixth one we talk about is debt repayment. Now, this, of course, with the budgeting is one of the most important things that we see, guys. The importance of budgeting for debt. You do not want to carry debt for the rest of your life. Credit card debt, student loan debt, car loan debt. It is very, very expensive to to carry all of this debt. In addition, guys, the Federal Reserve over the past 12 or 15 months has been slowly raising our interest rates, which of course makes a lot of things like credit card debt and adjustable variable rate loans more expensive. They're continuing to climb up, and as of today, it seems like there is going to be more rate increases that are going to be coming down the pipeline over the next possible weeks and months. So again, the debt that you already carry is now getting a lot more expensive. I know at one point the credit card interest rates were about 17, 18% on average. Now they have crept up to about 23% on average, which again, looking at the average loan debt that people are carrying of about $5,000 to $6,000, it is incredible the amount of credit card debt that is out there. And then, of course, one that we touched on a little bit, which is probably one of the most important overlooked ones, guys, that I really stress in all of my videos, is the savings. Really focusing on getting that emergency fund. Because what happens with a majority of people, guys, is they take all the money, they take all of the extra money that they make, they throw it towards all of their bills, and then guess what? Something happens where they have an unexpected expense or something of that nature, they go right back to credit cards. They go right back to borrowing. It is a very vicious cycle that keeps, I mean, if you pay $1,000 for something and you put that $1,000 on your credit card and you're not paying it off, now you're paying well over $1,000 on that credit card because essentially you did not have the emergency fund. Now, one thing to remember with the emergency fund, guys, is when you utilize your emergency fund, so let's say we save that first $1,000, we have it in our savings account, we have a legitimate expense. Now, what I mean by that is you don't need money, just to, let's say, go out and eat at a restaurant. You don't need the money to go out in discretionary spend if you're going to the movies, if you're going out for whatever it is, guys. The emergency fund is for emergencies. A lot of people kind of define that as something that is not really an emergency, and that is what I see most of the time. Making sure, again, that you have that $1,000 there in the emergency fund. Emergencies are defined as something that is a larger unexpected expense. So if you get your car breaks down and you need car repairs, very vital. If you need home repairs, that could be also something where an emergency would come in. So if you need to call someone to fix your, heating and cooling system, your water heater goes out, things of that nature, that is what you have the emergency fund for. Once you do utilize some of the money from the emergency fund, your first goal and your number one priority goal, guys, is to get that emergency fund back up to that $1,000 mark, because that is where we want the emergency fund to be at. Once you get there, guys, then you want to focus on paying off your debt, trying to get things in your life a little bit cheaper, trying to get them a little bit more affordable. Eliminating some of that debt will make a very big impact in this stage of life. All right, guys, so that'll do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and as always, thank you guys for watching.